Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. The name's Ophelia. Today I want to do a slightly different video. I admit it's not going to fit for many people, but basically because I could never fit in, it has made me sad for the longest time. But right now I am in such a mood, in such a place of gratitude for being different and being at this place that I would not trade my qualities for anyone. And this is coming from a person who, if literally was I generally used to think this way, that if somebody came to me and asked me, hey, would you want to get a surgery done to become a normal person, to be like not you, so that you could be normal, I would have said yes. I was generally that sort of person. I did not like myself. So for my future self, I record this video, and I also want to share it on my YouTube because I know there will be people who will feel like they're different, and I know there are many people like me or maybe different, but you need to be grateful for that. And I want to make this video as an example, and I want to encourage you. Okay, so the story is that I kind of never really fitted in the academic system. Like, I have been brought up in a very academically focused household, not in the way that it's stressful, no, but I've been brought up in a household that's very academically focused. And I'm actually more of a creative person. Like, I can do academics and I can do these things if you want me to, but that's simply not a place where I would at the end of the day feel fulfilled. Like, I could do it all and yet I would never feel fulfilled. If I made the smallest error, I would start defining myself by it. So because of that, I started doing many activities on the side, so that one thing, which was my academics, wouldn't define my worth, and something that wouldn't really stress me out so much. I also have a slightly different way of understanding things, and that basically means that I tend to take a very holistic overview of things first of all, and secondly that I learn the other way around. I will explain both these traits. So what exactly does a holistic point of view mean? See, okay, I'll take an example. You know what? So when earlier people used to ask me, what do you want to do when you grow up, and I really didn't have any idea, okay, and I would tell them, well, I have options, and they would ask me what, and I would tell them I want to pursue motion graphics or Sanskrit or psychology. And the first reaction would be, whoa, those are so contrasting fields. That is such, like, it's everywhere. And I was like, how is that contrasting? Because I never truly understood how it was contrasting. And they would ask me, how is it relatable? I mean, how are they related? And then I would tell them, like, I'm going to shorten the story here. I would explain them in a lot more detail, but I don't want this video to be like way too long, okay? So I told them that what I wanted was a medium of communication. And see, I was never the type who had like a lot of friends around her. I would much rather be alone than have like 1,000 friends, okay? 1,000 people who don't really value me for being the authentic me, okay? So I always had a lot of thoughts, and I always wanted to express them. And I had this big urge that I had a message. Somewhere my gut told me I had a message that I want to pass on to the world. But I did not know how to communicate my thoughts. So I needed a medium of communication. So what's the first medium of communication that comes to your mind? Language, isn't it? So Sanskrit is a language, and Sanskrit is a language I'm fairly good at. Like, I have a knack for languages, but Sanskrit is one language which I really liked, as I had good teachers. I'd always done good in it, all that, and there were also good resources available. And then I said there's a visual medium of communication, that is graphics, motion graphics, animation, all these things you see on the net. And then I told them that psychology, on the other hand, was not a medium of communication, but was an asset in communicating. So this is the way I understood things. Also, whenever somebody would when I was confused on how to choose my stream, whether it be the humanities or the sciences, so I would always understand things in the way that, humanities or the social sciences is a food web. It's kind of like a food web, and the sciences is more like a food chain. Let me explain. The sciences is more like food chain in the way that there's always like one or two correct answers. It's more objective in nature. It goes in like one single line. One thing leads to this, B leads to C leads to D, so on and so forth. It's a very stepwise, very systematic procedure, right? And the social sciences, they're also logical, but the thing is they're more subjective. The thing is, one thing doesn't just lead to one thing. One thing leads to three things. Three things lead to one, may lead to two things. One may lead to four things. And then they're going back to the same thing. And I realized that was the way I thought, you know. But if somebody like asked me, in which year did, I don't know, Napoleon was defeated, or what place, well, I know it's Waterloo now, but like basically I did not ever remember the details. You asked me who the president of this country is, or what is happening in the world. I was really not aware. If somebody asked me which psychologist discovered this, I never really knew it in that sort of way. I never really knew philosophy in that sort of way, but I just observed things. And what I understood when I am in the class, the way I understand things is, I listen to the teacher, but it's like there's there's another tab open in my head, which is going like, okay, but how does this fit in the bigger picture? So, but my brain's capacity is the same as the other students, right? So what I did was, I did not focus as much on the details as I do on the concept itself. For example, like, how does it matter? How does it matter in which year was what person defeated this way? And how does it matter the person was named Hitler? How does it matter that the variable is named X? The variable could be named chocolate for all I care, okay? End of the day, the concept is that you just took something and you gave it some value, and it can vary, okay? They are labels. They're just labels to make your understanding easier. That is the way I perceive it. I'm not judging anyone, okay? So I would see that, wait a minute, how does this fit in the bigger picture? And yeah, that's how I understood things. That way I would come to a very bizarre sort of conclusions. For example, I often I thought, wait a minute, if you can understand psychology, and I also am a bit into coding, then I realized if you're teaching a computer how to work, how to imitate a human, isn't psychology being used? And then when people would come to me and they would say, wow, how do you connect psychology and computer sciences? And then I never even realized that I did this, because in my head there was no box as such, and I never really understood it. And similarly, my teacher once came to me and she said, you can connect philosophy and mathematics. Not all people can do that. And to be honest, I thought everybody could do it. It came to me so naturally. Sure, I had to work on the skill, but it came to me so naturally that I thought everybody could do it. I thought it was a common thing. It was a normal thing. But if you're blessed in one field, something is also taken away from you in another field. So the things that everybody could do, I struggled more so with those things. But I was given an advantage in the things that the system did not value, at least at this time, at that age for me, So I really kind of struggled, and I really felt inferior, and I really felt that there was just something wrong with me. Coming back, the way I understood things was from a more holistic perspective, and I understood them the other way around. Like I said, people typically go into the details first, and then from the details, after studying the details, they take an overview as they grow up. Because when they grow up and then they start connecting things, that's why older people are typically wiser, right? But for me, I just study one thing and then I take an overview from that, and I apply that overview in every single other discipline that I find. And so it's kind of like I know a bit of everything, and I feel that everything is connected, okay? So it's kind of like I know a bit of everything, and at the same time I know nothing. Because which political science student or which history student wouldn't know when the Cold War started, when the World War ended? I know them right now because it's my syllabus, 1914 to 1918, guys. But the thing is, these are the kind of things I did not know. And if somebody asked me and they would think, whoa, she's a history student, no, whoa, she's really not good, they would, it's kind of like jack of all trades and master of none. It was kind of like that. But the thing that all this has taught me, all this has made me realize, first of all, was that, so what happened was, because I was kind of suppressing my creativity, because my academics took most of my time and I was not able to do things, that creativity which was being suppressed found a way out, And you know how it manifested? It manifested in the way of connecting different fields with each other. And I did not realize this was creativity for a long time, suppressed creativity, manifesting in the form of intellect for a long time. I mean, what is creativity, guys? What is creativity? It is anything outside the box. It is connecting various things. It is not just limited to the arts, is it? Right? So it was because I was in a place that my creativity was not valued, that it manifested in the form of intellect, that I realized that, oh wait, at a higher academic level, I can do something with this. I have such great skills for this, But if I had been in a place where my creativity was actually valued, I would have never realized I have an intellectual side as well. But now, guess what? I'm doing well in both the sides. Like, I'm not saying fitting in the system, but overall in both the sides I can do well. I'm at such a place, both the academic as well as the creative side. And you know what? The more you know, the more it helps you in some way or the other. Like, just because I left maths and physics as subjects, does it mean that I don't use them? I do use them. I use more maths than I realize. But it also had its cons. Like I said, I felt really, really left out. Also, I chased academic validation. So when I realized that my creativity could manifest in the form of intellect, I started intellectualizing everything. I started over-intellectualizing everything. I'm a creative and a sensitive person, right? So I started intellectualizing my feelings. I made a video about this, how intellectualization is a coping mechanism at times, and that is what I did. I started intellectualizing my feelings to escape from them, so that I could get that academic societal validation. Because for once I felt something that came to me so naturally, I fitted in with it. And I felt so good about it. And now I'm at a place where I'm trying to fix that, and I know I can do it. So yes, does it bring problems? Yes, it certainly does. But think about it. Had you been in an environment that actually valued all of you, would you have come to this point? Would you have worked this hard to not let those things get suppressed? If you had been brought up in, let's say, an emotionally stable household, would you be this level of empathetic? Would you be inspired to do something this extraordinary? Guys, I have skills that if I go towards one career, I can pursue it very easily. Like my cousin brother recently, he came over and I told him I wanted to get into. And then he asked me, oh, what is it? Can you show me something you did? Can you show me what it is? And I did show him. And he said that if you're really into it, why not just drop out of school and start doing this? I'm not sure if he said it as a joke. I mean, it was kind of both a joke and a realistic thing in some way. Like, he meant it both ways. But I realized I would not want to do that. Not because it's risky. Sure, it's a risky thing to do. But at the same time, I realized I may not like the system, but I do somewhat like having this side knowledge, these side things, that I'm not totally into a creative profession, but at the same time, I know psychology as well, and it's because of that I started applying it in different things and coming up with these videos. I could have just gone into an academic profession, just did a degree in one language and started teaching. I could have done that as well. But then why did I start my YouTube? Then why did I decide to be in a place where I could have multiple sources of income, that I could do multiple different eclectic fields? I thought of it that way because I was in such a place, because I was under such pressure. I wanted to make these simplistic sort of videos even when I know a lot of complex things, because I have been in that place before, because I've been in a place of sadness and neglecting yourself, hating yourself. So if you had not been put in this condition, if you were the most popular kid in school, if you had the best friends, if you had the best family, you would not be here. You would not be inspired to be this. Sure, you have different problems. Sure, less people resonate with you. But you know why you were given this issue, this problem? And no, it's not fair. I'm not saying it's fair. But you know why you were given this problem? Because you were the only one strong enough to break it, to get out of it, and to use it as an asset. I really want to emphasize in this video that anything that you feel is your biggest drawback, is your biggest trauma, whatever, it can become your biggest asset. Okay, it can become your biggest asset. It can be in the way, just start thinking of things in the way, okay, if it's this level of bad, what if I switch the narrative, it will just be this level of good. Start thinking in this way. Start being a little more. Actually, you don't need to start being it. You will automatically get it. You'll automatically start being grateful for things as you start working on things. And by the way, when I say that I have all these things, all these skills, please, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, okay? I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. It's just that I am on a very different side of the spectrum. It's just that if most people start learning from this side and they go like this, and this is the middle point, then I start learning from this side. But because I don't fit in and this side is not what the society desires, I have to fit in at least this much to this side, and I have to, so in that way I know like a bit extra, just like 2 to 3% extra. So when I tell people things and they say, whoa, that's very different, or I've never heard that anywhere, and they think I know more, I don't know more, I just know different things. I'm not superior than anybody. So if you're different, it doesn't mean you're superior in some way. Yes, you could use some more validation. You do deserve some more credit. Actually, a lot more credit for what you do. But I promise you, it's going to take you to a great place. It's going to teach you something great, something amazing. And yeah, I just know you have the strength to get through this, to do all of it. And I have not given very extreme examples here because I don't want to get as much into my story, but I really want to say that I think if I can do it, me, then anybody can do it. Okay, you can do it. If I could do it, you can do it. Why do you think I'm making these videos for you? Okay, you can do it. You're given this problem because you're strong enough to solve it. If you're given that problem, God ensures that you have the capacity to get over it. But you are the one who needs to get the will, who needs to keep trying. Okay? So don't stop. Keep going. I'm telling you, in the long run, just keep thinking of a vision for yourself. In the long run, that this is what my life will look like after a point. Those dreams are there in your head for a reason. It's because a future version of you already has them. Okay? But what I did was I started thinking too long term. So what I would do was I could not appreciate the present. So do not do that either, because that made me either go in the past or in the future, but I was never in the present moment. I could not really enjoy that. But at one point or the other, you will regret not enjoying this time. Okay, do not lose your childhood or your younger years because you were so dedicated to growing up. Like, it's mature, but really just enjoy the present. Okay? Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helped you in some way. This was a different sort of video, but tell me if you want more like these. And yeah, love you all so much. Bye bye.